presuming somebody did share their sketch with someone that they trusted, what kind of responses would be good things for the trusted person to respond to?
I think the important thing is to not evaluate. It's simply to be honest about your response to it in terms of your feeling tone. And if you can't think of anything to say, just thank the person for sharing, because that's a real trust to share your journal with somebody. It really means a lot. It means that they trust you. I never ask anybody to share the journal with me. If I'm doing a group where I'm training teachers, I will say at the end of your journal period, you can just say, this is the time, if anybody wants to share, that you can. You can either talk about what you did in the journal, or you can actually open the journal and show us what you did, or read from it if you like. Of course, you don't want them to ever feel put on a spot. That's really important. And that's an area where we've noticed in the schools that there's less bullying, because we set these boundaries very clearly about no ridiculing, no analyzing, none of that, no judgment. And so when they hear that and they go, oh, okay, well, then this is a safe place to share. And it cuts down on any bullying, because the teacher will stop anybody who does. They'll remind them. And we actually have a list of the ground rules that we put on the walls in these schools where we train the teachers. And so the teacher will say to the kid, hey, there's no ridiculing here. Look at the rule. And if the teacher forgets the rules, the kids remind them. It's very cute. I mean, I've been in classrooms where they've been sharing and the teacher does something that's outside the lines of the rules, and the kid will say, rule number 4 says whatever, And so they're very vigilant about it. They want to make it safe for themselves.
Right. And does the actual class itself come up with their own rules?
No, the rules are given to the teachers when we train them. Yeah. Now, there are a lot of people out there teaching from my books that we didn't train, but all the ground rules are listed in there. And I make it very clear in the books. If you're not following these ground rules, you're not using my method. Call it something else. Don't call it creative journal.
Right. You bet. So are you coming in with another book soon for us?
Well, I have 13 books out now, and I just published an ebook, and it's called The Talent Workbook.
Neat.
It just went online. And it's based on an earlier book of mine which went out of print a few years ago called Putting Your Talent to Work. So the subtitle of this one is Putting Your Talent to Work, and then the subtitle is Identifying, Cultivating, and Marketing Your Natural Talents.
Neat.
So it's a workbook that has journal prompts at the lower left, a place to draw, and then a place to write. And it goes through all 3 areas of talent. What talent do you want to develop right now, for whatever reason? As a volunteer, professionally, for money, for what? And then how are you going to cultivate that talent? And we have a lot of journal exercises that have appeared in some of my earlier books, like what do you want to be when you grow up? And we ask people, what were the things that you really wanted to be when you were a kid? Because there's a lot of truth in those dreams. And you may want to revive one of those dreams right now. I mean, I'm sitting in a gallery. I had a dream years ago, before I ever became an art therapist. I had a dream about having an art gallery when I was an artist that had a coffee shop in it and a bookstore. And that's exactly what I have here. It's a coffee shop next door that I used to hang out in before I ever opened the gallery. And I sell my books here. They're all on a shelf over there. Okay? Wow. So that dream has come true. Now that was in the 70s. That's a long time ago. But I'm sitting in that dream right now.
Was that part of your visioning when you were doing your visioning book? Did you have a vision?
No, at that time I focused on visioning my house, and that's the house I lived in here. And I was visioning the relationship I wanted, which I have now, within the last 3 months, since September. But the gallery just happened. It was like a fluke, but it really wasn't. I mean, this space was a paper shop, and it became vacant. And a friend of mine recommended, oh, wouldn't this be a great gallery? And he said, you're an artist, wouldn't you want that? I said, yeah, great idea, but I'd do it as a co-op. So I pictured 2 friends actually 3, and I walked into the coffee shop, and one of them was sitting there, and 20 minutes later the other one came in.
Wow.
Mary Anderson and Tim Mayer.
Right.
And then I called the 4th artist I had in mind, and she said, oh yeah, I'd love to. And so I sit here and make jewelry while I'm working in the garden. Yeah.
Absolutely, works great.
Yeah. But that dream was stuff that I wrote about in a journal years ago.
Now your ebook, is that going to be on your website?
That's on my website,
Okay.
luciac.com, luciac.com.
Great, that
And
sounds
it's a
like
downloadable ebook. It's real easy to access.
some of your books are out of print, and you can only get them at your site. Which
Right.
books are the ones that?
Well, one of them is the Wellbeing Journal, and I still have a number of those, and that's a journal book for health. Lighten Up Journal, and that's almost out. It's called Lighten Up Your Body, Lighten Up Your Life. The original title was Lighten Up Journal, and it's about weight control. So that's available. Putting Your Talent to Work is not available anymore, but now it's in the ebook, so
ebook.
all that material is in there, yeah. And I also have some audios that are not available anyplace else. It's a book called The Wisdom of Your Other Hand. It's not a book, but an album, and it's got 5 tapes in it. And I'm speaking on each of these hour-long 5 tapes about my different books.